All right. Hey, Rebecca, we are so excited to have you here on CGoodTV and Woo Woo with Ginger.
Woo woo!
Woo woo!
Awesome to be here. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We're so excited. For those of you that don't know, Rebecca is the filmmaker and she filmed the amazing Kiss the Ground. And we're so excited to have her on CGoodTV. And she is going to be on a panel coming up discussing climate change on November 19th at 6 p.m. Pacific. So I hope you all turn in. You can turn up, whatever you want to do. Tune in, check it out, sit down. And Rebecca, do you want to tell us a bit about the film?
Sure. Kiss the Ground is a documentary narrated by Woody Harrelson, and it shows how we can reverse climate change through drawdown, which is essentially taking all of that excess carbon that we've got in the atmosphere and storing it in healthy soil where it belongs.
Oh, that's exciting. And that sounds really complicated. Is this a real thing or just a theory that we can do this?
It's 100% a real thing.
Okay. Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah, I think most people are so stuck in the sort of lost Roundup resistant weeds, so to speak. So we're stuck in this debate about whether climate change is real, or how much we can do at this point, how many years we have left to get it below however many but at the end of the day, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is that we begin to understand where we can put that carbon and begin to understand how soil works. And when you have living soil, it is actually 50% carbon by weight. It can draw water, it becomes a sponge, it helps an environment become fire resistant, drought resistant, and the main thing that it can do is store that legacy load of carbon that we have in our atmosphere. And I swear when you watch the movie, it's way more entertaining than hearing me yammer on about it.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson and the environment. I'm sorry, like Pam combination right there. What was it like working with Woody Harrelson actually? Was that fun?
I mean, it's always incredible to work with Woody. I mean, he's a master at his craft, and he's truly passionate about this issue. He used to call up Josh back in the early 2000s when he was driving his biodiesel bus around on hemp oil. Yeah. And Josh, he had helped sort of turn on the biodiesel movement with his book about biodiesel and how to make biodiesel or convert your car. And so Woody had become a part of that group of people who were trying to get off of foreign oil and jumpstart a kind of regenerative fuel movement here in the US. So all these years later, when Josh would sort of get him out of a jam on the side of the road when his car had broken down, paid off because that goodwill turned into him stepping up and really helping this message of regeneration get out to the world.
I love that. It all came back around. It's awesome. I know when a lot of people watch these films, we get all excited, but then we can feel overwhelmed. At least I can feel very overwhelmed. Like I want to help, but I feel so small and useless. What are some practical steps that anybody could do to help with our soil or help with our environment? What do you think?
Every time that we eat or we buy something, we are either participating in regenerating the planet or degenerating the planet. And so we have to start to look at the quality and the way in which the things that we interact with are made. Is this something that is helping to restore the climate, to draw down carbon into healthy soil, or is this doing the opposite of that? And so we can start with how we're eating. We can look at where our food is coming from, how our food is grown. Did the farmer integrate healthy soil practices when that food was grown? And the best way to find that out is to go to a farmer's market and meet the people who are growing the food and have a conversation about soil health. Not a contentious one, but a loving one.
I know, like, how do you start that conversation? Like, hello, farm stand man or woman. How do you start that? It's like, tell me about your dirt. Like, what do you say?
Well, it's a very personal thing for farmers. And I think that they've received a lot of criticism from people who are a part of the organic movement for not using organic practices. And they're very defensive of that. And the truth is, not all organic food is regenerative. So I think there's Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. So there, you know, that's why it's important to understand that your farmer knows that by the different practices, whether they're spraying chemicals or tilling the soil, that's going to affect that life in that soil that we need in the soil that will attract the carbon and stabilize our climate. But farmers are sensitive. And like my dad, for instance, he's an Ohio farmer, soy, corn. Imagine our Thanksgiving dinner political conversations. So we definitely don't see eye to eye in a lot of things, but when it gets down to it, he loves the land just like I love the land, and he's starting to come around. And I think it's only through love. It's not through, pointing out the differences or how those ways are wrong, but like truly in getting into understand that regenerative practices actually make a farmer profit. They can actually make a ton of money through regenerative practices. And so I think that's where you start to see interest from the farming community.
You know what?
I think talking about it sounds so boring, but I promise
No, it's good.
It's not, just a boring movie about dirt. It really is a movie about how we can connect to nature and save humanity.
I love it. I love nature. And, actually, I really do like your approach, like pointing out that it's not about judging people or pointing fingers. Like if you approach with love and compassion, like you're going to get so much farther than just being like, you're like, ooh.
Yeah. And another thing we can do is we can compost. I know that's, how is that connected to saving the earth? But actually, compost can help bring soil back to life. And it is one of the best ways to jumpstart that process of regeneration in the soil. So they're even having compost wars in San Francisco, because in San Francisco, they created citywide composting. And for people that don't compost, they get charged a fine. And all that compost gets turned into delicious dirt, healthy, living, regenerative soil that gets put out onto farms and vineyards in Northern California. And they're having tremendous success with carbon capture there. So
that's good news.
Yeah. Yay. So we can start to look at in our communities how we can use our food waste as a starter for healthy soil.
Awesome. Oh, Rebecca, you're amazing. You're out there doing good things. So you are going to be on the panel on November 19th at 6:00. It's going to be an awesome panel. And since we have a couple of minutes, should we pull a tarot card or two?
Oh, I would love one. I'm an Ojai, so you don't have to twice.
Ojai, yes. Okay, we're definitely pulling cards. Do you have a question in particular, or should we just pull a card and see what comes up?
Let's see. How can I best serve the regenerative movement?
All right, let's pull a card for that. Let's see what we get. Well, here's the card of the farmer with a giant compost pile right there. And I think it's everything that you're doing now. I think you can't force a crop to grow. Hold on, my mind is blown.
Wow,
woo, woo, with Ginger.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, so this is all about doing what you're doing right now. It's patience, and you would never want to pick a strawberry when it's green. You just gotta tend to it and take care of it and pick it. And like when it's time to go to harvest, it'll harvest. But look at that, the money's all there and the profit is there and the good stuff is there. It's a matter of just working with nature and not against nature, and doing everything you're doing right now, step by step. You're growing. It's officially now going to be my compost card in my tarot deck. My whole life has changed.
You just fed my soul.
Yay! Well, it was so lovely chatting with you. We hope you have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on the 19th.
Bye, Ginger. Thank you.
Bye, Rebecca.